Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here, and it's balmy Southern California today. And that gentleman out there is
Jim Johnston in chilly Northeast Ohio, Youngstown to be exact.
I can't believe, everybody who knows me knows I'm a big Dodger fan. I can't believe the Dodgers choked. And here I'm rooting for the Guardians. This guy here. We discussed baseball at the beginning of the season, and now you guys could be going to the big show.
We could be going to the pennant, and that would be huge. And
wow,
the game first pitch has been delayed as of this filming because of rain in the Bronx, but game 5 in New York, and we had a 7% chance to make the ALDS at the beginning of the year and a 1% chance to win it. And we're on the brink tonight with 17 rookies.
Oh my God!
Tito Francona.
I'm gonna literally watch when they play the Astros, because I hate those guys. Okay, I hate the trash throws.
From your lips to God's ears, they end up playing the Astros. Because if it's the Yankees and the Astros and the ALCS, I'm gonna watch soccer.
And with that, folks, we're gonna taste and dissect. Jim and I have had the really distinct pleasure of tasting and dissecting MexiSeltzer, all of their flavors. Or guess what? They now have a brand new flavor, which we've been hoarding, and this is called the Spicy Mango. As per usual, we are going to taste it at room temperature. Then we're going to pause the video, and then I'm going to run to my fridge, and Jim's he's got to look at the place he's got. I'm sure he's got a small chiller somewhere in those cabinets.
Technology back there.
It's hidden, because Jim. And we're gonna taste it cold, chilled, as probably how people are gonna do it during tailgate season, which is right now during the football season going on. So that being said, we've got a couple of things that I noticed off camera that we're gonna bring up on the tasting. But I'm gonna pop this open. I'm gonna do it away from my keyboard because this is a brand new computer I'm playing with here, folks. These have been sitting on my living room floor at room temperature. Oh, hello. Wow. Now, Jim and I have got, we've had some, we have a wide palette now for all kinds of RTDs, ready to drinks. And as you folks have figured out by now, the RTD category has exploded since the pandemic. And it's only getting bigger. You tell people about Onda. You were telling me off camera something about Onda.
Onda is everywhere in Ohio, which if you make it in Ohio, you can make it anywhere. But I'm talking about rural quickie marts, like in the middle of nowhere. You walk in and there's those brightly colored, kind of grapefruit colored boxes. And I was actually at the Penn State Michigan game this past weekend. Tailgates everywhere.
Wow.
RTDs. No, I mean, I'm talking about at the same level of Bud Light RTDs.
Wow.
So if you're up there with the number one selling beer in the world, what I saw, and this is anecdotal, but still, every single cooler had a seltzer in it, regardless of what everybody else was drinking. Beer, if they had wine, if they had mixed drinks, whatever the tailgate, there was seltzer or an RTD in the cooler. So
wow,
that's where we are.
So now, yeah, it's part of the gear. Now it's part of the culture. It's part of the tailgate culture. So what did you smell?
Make it good.
What did you smell right off the bat? Because I know you were sniffing the can when we popped it open.
Well, so the last time we did all three, right in a row. The nose on this is very natural. There's nothing chemical about it. It smells like a real flavor. It actually smells like the thing they say it is on the can.
Right.
So it smells like I just cut into kind of a mango. It's got a little bit of that effervescence in it, a little bit of that carbonation that comes off on the nose, but it smells like fruit. It smells like a mango.
Yeah, it doesn't have you and I have had some of the RTDs that had the gaseousness of the,
Right.
you could smell that first. It was kind of a bitter smell, and then the flavor would come, the aroma would surface to the top. And that's again at room temperature before being chilled and all that. But we like to dissect them this way because we get an idea of what the recipe is like. And it's a funny thing. I have interviewed several folks now with their own RTDs, and they thanked us for doing that because they know that their recipe is the important part of it that translates once it's chilled, or like you said, once it's in the cooler, and so we're on the right track, folks. I know it sounds boring, but literally, like we've said before, not everybody's going to pound this, what is this, a 6 ounce, 7 ounce? And nobody's going to do that. They're going to set it down, and we're going to talk football or baseball or whatever, and it's going to warm up. I mean, especially in summertime. So, are you still going to drink it, or are you going to dump it and get another cold one? And
right, and a lot of bubbles on this, so I don't think it's going to go flat immediately on you. Nope. But also just the fact that I know people aren't nosing carbonated beverages on ice in a glass. It's very hard to, but if you just pass that can in front of your face and you smell something that smells real and natural, it's a lot better than some of the ones we've had that smell like saccharin, and it's like Hawaiian punch. You're like that's sugar and some kind of chemical first.
Right.
It's not natural flavor.
No, and all the recipes for MexiSeltzer have been delicious. So right now in the aroma, I got a slight mango. It's not heavy mango like you and I have had. Cutwater. Cutwater has a canned. It's a full-on cocktail that came in at 15%. And mango in and of itself, we've had several mango tequilas and mango liqueurs and RTDs, and mango's a really tough flavor to get right because you mess it up more often than you get it right in your mixed drinks or your infused tequilas. And this one, like you said, smells really natural. This
has been the flavor we've had that tends to go towards the chemical or the fake sugar if you have to bump it up. And so lime tastes like lime. If you squeeze a lime in a club soda over ice, you can get that same flavor on an RTD very easily.
Yeah.
Mango is kind of that thing where everybody tries too hard, or they go too sweet, or they go too mango flavored, which makes it taste like it's a chemical.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, it tastes fake. I mean, and some of them are over the top. I mean, we've had them, especially in the infused tequila category. So I want to dive in, man, because it's just clean mango is all I get. So here we go.
Yeah.
Not as sweet as I thought.
No,
I was expecting sweeter.
But because this is spicy mango, if that was too sweet, I don't think you would have tasted anything else but that sugar hit.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that spice kick on it, like a baked spice on the back of it.
Yeah.
It's very soft, but it's still got some flavor to it, but it's not like biting.
No, but it lingers on the palate. I've noticed that it's like, and it
back. I've got that spice.
Yeah. And what's funny is the last time I had something that would linger like that was spicy was surprisingly was Volley. Volley had a ginger. Has a ginger recipe, and unbeknownst to me, ginger, I'm so used to ginger ale, I thinking, it's going to be like a ginger ale, but it's not. Natural ginger is actually spicier than I had anticipated, which leads me to believe that
fresh ginger on by itself, it's got some kick, and this kind of has a little bit of that, just a touch of that ginger ale aftertaste of a little spice. But the effervescence is what keeps it going, because it's like bubbly spice at the back of your palate. But this in a very that's what I meant by soft. It's not a biting spice. It complements the mango without the sweetness, I think.
Well, you know, it's all these recipes have been very traditional to Mexico. So I would imagine it's a mango, you know, for those of you who are watching in Mexico or have been to Mexico and they sprinkle some of that tahine or, you know, chili powder on top of your mango, right? Generally speaking, you do that with mezcal. You know, you see the charcuterie plates or dishes or whatever with, you know, you got mango or fresh fruit and you kind of throw some spice on it, whether it's worm salt or whatever it is that they use, or tahine. And right now, even at room temp, this is really good.
Yeah. Like I'm drinking this neat and I just keep sipping on it. Like this is not bad at all. And I think that the first time I smelled it, and I was like, this is good mango flavor, but how did they get it to smell like that? If it's not going to be real sweet, it's not overly.
No.
So like if you're not a regular Coke drinker because you don't like the sugar, some people are turned off by the fruit flavors of RTDs because they're like, this is going to be loaded with sugar. And I think, and I don't see it on here, but I don't really think there's much in here aside from the carbonated tequila beverage in here. They're low calorie, low sugar, but they get a great flavor out of it. So
yeah, all their recipes have been stellar. Every single one of them. They have that aloe mint, which was so just refreshing. I mean, it was, you know,
and a tamarind, which not a lot of people, if you don't have a lot of experience with Latin or Southeast Asian cuisine, know what a tamarind should taste like. But it's, even if you have no idea what it is, it's very approachable. It's very good. It's got a lot of depth and complexity, and it's easy to sip on.
Yeah, and so if and when it does warm up, you know, or go again, it's not going to go flat on you. Bubbles are still there. In fact, it even looks like it has a slight tinted color, like a slight rosy color. I mean, very, very light, because it's not crystal clear in my glass. Of course, then again, I have a ring light behind me here. I really like that spiciness, though. That lingering spiciness is really attractive.
It gives it a little warmth.
Yeah, it's got a nice kick to it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pause this recording. I'm going to run to my fridge. I'm going to grab one that's cold, and we'll be right back so that we can taste this at room or at cold temperature, you know, like we would at a tailgate. So I'll be right back in a short minute. Oops. Go. So I'm back. We're back. And I have hopefully a chilled MexiSeltzer in the spicy mango flavor. Let me open this right now off to the side. Again, I've got a new computer. I don't want to spill any of it. We discovered off camera that the first initial flavors that we tasted were coming and canned at Gnome 1414. Each of these does have a gnome number. Okay. Now, what we discovered was this one has a different gnome. 1459 is a much bigger distillery. I took a look at the gnome list and found out that Asombroso comes out of that distillery. It's a much bigger maquiladora that does have the wherewithal to be able to do more canning. Demetrio comes out of there. Derechito, which we've had, we're gonna actually taste their 80 proof, which we haven't had yet. Elevaso, Galan, Gran Tulum, lots of Mexico only brand. Oh, Insolente, which is another one that comes out of there. So what I have read so far from the information that I've got is that this distillery doesn't use additives, but I'm not too sure about that, and if that's a big deal for you, because frankly it's it's a double-edged sword. Okay, folks.
Yeah, and in this space, I mean, I don't know how much that's actually going to impact when you add all the other juice, carbonation, all the
Yeah.
things in it, but they're pretty on the can. They're pretty good, real flavor, real fruit juice, natural flavors, not additives that, you know, and to be honest, it doesn't taste like it. It hasn't so far. So
Yeah, it has none of the flavors did, and of course, Gnome 1414, which is where their first initial batches were coming out of, do not use additives at all. So my understanding was that they were, I had heard ahead of time that they were improving their distillery in order to do flavored tequilas. I was not aware that they were going to do more RTDs. That's great. I mean, I think that's just smart business at this point.
yeah, and I mean the better quality going into the RTD.
Yeah,
think is better for
exactly. I
you
mean,
as a whole,
no,
so
Gnome 1414 is one of our favorites, and 1459 is no slouch either. So I will be interviewing one of the owners of MexiSeltzer tomorrow. So I'm going to ask him that question. Let's say, why the switch in distilleries? Was it just to meet demand, or is there another reason for that? You know, you never know until you ask him, right? So maybe he can tell
right,
me. So we'll find
right.
out. Okay, so it's chilled. Now the nose is much calmer, much more muted, obviously, because it's colder.
Yeah, that happens all the time with the carbonated stuff. It just kind of, you get a little bit more of the gas than you do the nose of the flavor.
Right, right. And you know, the chilling, the cold activates more of the bubbles anyway. I mean, that's just the nature of the chemistry, right? So,
I think you'd have to wait a long time for this to go flat on you.
oh yeah.
I mean, just with the effervescence of the whole thing, it's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it's not. Both pours have had tons of bubbles in them.
Even you know, at room temp, the bubbles
Yeah,
were
oh
still
yeah,
there. So that, to me, that's a great sign, you know, that if the flavor profile holds up, then they're not afraid of it to go warm. They're not, you know, they're not scared of it.
yeah. And
So
I typically get, when you get a nose that has good carbonation on it and it's going to hold its carbonation, it's almost like having a little salt go up your nose. You get a
right,
little bit of that
yeah,
bicarb in there, and and I got tons of that on this. So this could probably sit out for a while without
yeah, without
falling
harming it.
flat on you. Yeah.
Okay, well now I'm getting the nose that we got, you know, initially. It's just, you know, and all we get is straight mango. You know, and I'm not even getting any spiciness. Were you getting
No,
any
the
spiciness?
spices on the flavor, but not the nose.
Yeah, you know, it was. That's the funny thing, is I completely forgot that it was a spicy mango. I thought it was just mango, right, until I tasted it, and then right, like you said, right at the rear of the palate, the back end, it starts to get really spicy. Well, I'm ready to dive in because this nose is amazing. So yeah, here we go. Oh yeah.
Ice moves up your palate now with the cold.
Yep.
Starts a little earlier.
It goes up the retronasal easily.
But
Like
it's blending with the mango. So when it's room temperature, I got mango, spice. Now I get a little bit of everything the whole way down, and it actually blends together when you get the chill on it.
Yep. Mm. Mm. Even on the retronasal, it's got a nice retronasal too. Yeah. It's still a combination of the spiciness and the mango together.
And it's got a little bit of a finish, even for something that doesn't have a high alcohol volume. That spice kind of takes you almost a here with it. It goes down. It's not. You don't think you're drinking, you know, just soda water.
There's really some depth to this. It's not that, well, none of their RTDs at MexiSeltzer were just, you know, slapping a label together. There was a lot of thought that went into their recipes, into the flavors, into their combinations. You know, that, like I said, that aloe mint was something really special. And this spicy mango is really different from other others that say that they're mango or spicy something. Like I've had spicy watermelon, which was, not all that great.
The three that we had, and including this one, they could have just been straightforward and done lime, mango, grapefruit, but they blended the flavors together and they brought those elements that they thought would complement that. I think the spice with the mango is really strong. It's good.
Yeah,
It complements it and it gives depth at the back end of what would probably be like
just
I mean,
carbonation.
right. I mean, some of these you get an RTD and it's like a Mick Ultra. It's beer, but it's not beer. It's not the whole thing.
A Mick Ultra.
This is a drink. It's got complexity. It's got depth. You
Yeah.
can drink it. It's not got a lot of calories. It's 6%, but still, it's something you can sip and have some depth and some complexity to the flavor profile. I like it.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not even going to hesitate. Another Brand of Promise nominee. I don't know if you can see that on my screen. Here it is. Hey, I gave you one of these.
I have to put mine together. You know, it's still bookmarking your article in the
Oh, is it?
magazine. Yes. That's how I packed it to come home from the Spirits Festival.
Okay.
I sat
Yeah.
down and I was like, oh my God, I have a Brand of Promise thing. I got glued together.
Yeah, you got. I gave you the ice cream stick too.
I know.
I did everything but glue it for you.
I have the glue. It was in the magazine because I bookmarked the article with those.
None of us, some of us, if you're not familiar what we're talking about, several of us at Tequila Aficionado were invited to be judges at the San Diego Spirits Festival, which is already come and gone in late September of 2022. And we were there in August, the month before. And a lot of us have met online, but we had not met in person. So it was kind of fun to do some stuff together, even if it was only a couple of days. And Jim was on my panel actually during the tasting the next day. That was interesting. But anyway,
a good way to describe it.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was, you know what, it was really, it was a good team building thing, and honestly, I think that's the bottom line of it. And the event, from all signs, the event was a huge smash. So as it always is with Liz Edwards. If you haven't seen my interview with Liz on Open Bar, you can check that out. Liz is the owner and organizer of the San Diego Spirits Festival. So, and I believe MexiSeltzer had participated in that event and other events that we are associated with. For instance, the Monterey Bay Tequila and Cuisine and their San Diego version that took place, I think, in August. They participated. So this brand, I'm telling you, they're hitting it. They've hit home runs every single time.
Yeah. And I can tell you, and specifically from that tasting experience for San Diego, if they participated, we didn't get it because our RTD flight was kind of typical of the RTD experience we've had overall.
Yeah.
There was one that was decent. There were a lot that just tried to be Sprite with tequila in it. Like it's just run of the mill, easy to drink, but no expression of the alcohol that went into it, the spirit that went into it. And I think these guys are getting what needs to happen with the flavor. Yes, there's tequila in this and well-made tequila, but the flavor that they bring to the RTD is good enough that you want to taste it. Even if you're not a liquor fan, even if you're not a tequila fan, you can get some depth of flavor and sip on this. And if you are a tequila fan and you like things that have some complexity, there you go.
This is your jam. If you folks are following them on Instagram, yeah, they do. Their commercials are very lifestyle, version, like a lot of tequilas are going. Take it with you on camping trips and things like that. I mean, lots of younger generation people, that are being presented in these Instagrams and these reels, in these basically they're just commercials anyway, and the TikToks as well. But for people who are older, the older generation, And maybe even for those drinkers as well, if you take the time to break it down, there's a lot of substance in these. It's not just colored water with a lot of like Jim mentioned earlier. It's not Hawaiian punch with a label on it and bubbles. It's not. And like I said, it's got a known number. So these have to be canned in Mexico in order to get that number. So if you're again a tequila guy, a tequila person, and you're looking for that known number, this is it right here. So
real stuff from a real distillery. So
yeah,
a lot of the RTDs out there right now, I think are just, it's kind of like cheap vodka with the flavor being added in. So if you start with decent tequila and you could present a flavor profile like this, somebody paid a lot of attention and did the work to taste this through the process and make sure they didn't mess it up.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's clearly what I'm going to approach the owners of MexiSeltzer tomorrow when I interview them for Open Bar. So look out for that interview because that should be coming out shortly, as well as this tasting as well. Brand of Promise nominee, obviously, in the RTD category. I really am interested to find out why they moved it to another distillery. If that was just production or what. I mean, there's lots of reasons why. MexiSeltzer is going bananas. I mean, if Onda is everywhere in Ohio, it's only a matter of time before you get something of this quality, even in Ohio, right?
Wow. And I'm just talking from a taste perspective of the things I find where I go. The places where I found Onda in Ohio are not places you would think a tequila-based RTD would do well. And I mean that in terms of like just hardcore Busch Light and a shot of whiskey farm country
right
has Onda on the shelves here. So where's the market for that if you're talking about farmers and hunters who are not going to take a pink can and pour it into a glass with ice and have a clear drink, sitting at the VFW that night on Friday night? That's where it is here. Yeah. So RTDs are blowing up everywhere because I think my generation and younger are looking for something that's easier, that's not beer, that's not champagne, prosecco, something like that, sparkling, right, that they can have some flavor with. But again, you got to be careful because you're going to get things that you think have flavor, and then you find something like this and you realize White Claw's not that great.
Yeah, well, it's all about taking a White Claw has taken a dump in the market because everybody else has got an RTD. I mean, you and I have had several RTDs now under our belt in the last 2 or 3 years, and some of them are just labels that they slap a can with a label slapped on it, and others like this one, MexiSeltzer. There's a lot of thought went into this.
Yes, this recipe was paid attention to, like you were making food.
Yeah,
like the things going into it had to come out, and people would take a bite and say, "Oh, this is mango. This has got some spice on it. This is tamarind." They were concerned about the flavor profile. I think it's the only way to make it come out this way and have the RTD with the carbonation and all the things that go into it still be true to the flavor. So they've done well. I like it.
I do too. Like I said, Brand of Promise nominee. I get to interview one of the owners tomorrow, so I can't wait to hit him up with several questions. Like, who's responsible for these recipes? I mean, who's crazy enough to mix some of these, and where did the inspiration come from? All that stuff, because it's really important to make sure that, as you said, if there's so much thought that went into the recipe, you start reverse engineering where it came from and how was the inspiration, what happened, what was your background,
why switch?
And why switch? Yeah,
why make it to the NASCAR championship and fire your mechanic? Like, what's your thing there? Like, but maybe it's a great reason. Maybe it's production. Maybe it's they found a better.
I don't
I'm
know.
curious now too. I hope you send me a text and so this is why they did it.
Yeah, this is why I think I'll just do that, and but that's, folks, that's everything. Our take on MexiSeltzer, the brand new flavor. You folks have probably seen it already out there. It's the spicy mango. Do not be afraid of the mango. Don't be afraid of it.
Oh
It
no.
is
No,
excellent.
it's
There is a QR codes you can snap on there, and it will give you. It says all the. It says get the all the details, I guess is what it says there. It is considered gluten-free. Oh, get the facts. Facts are here. It is recyclable can, obviously. Now, the other thing I want to ask you is, what's that Cali? What is that? What is that Cali crafted? What does that stand for? I got to find out what that means, because the other cans didn't have any of that. So,
right.
there's a lot of questions now that I have for these people. So I can't wait to get a hold of them tomorrow. But that's our take on MexiSeltzer. If you folks have had it, leave us a comment down below. Also, hit the notification bell. Give us a like if you like videos like this that are more in depth than the 4-second bites that you're getting elsewhere. And obviously subscribe. Be a subscriber unless you're afraid of commitment. And whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely. Go Guardians.
There you go.